Well, hey there, book lovers. By now, you have heard I have a brand new series coming out this spring. It is Steampunk Meets Aladdin, and I am so incredibly excited to introduce the Stealing Steam series for you guys. And the first book, Lions and Lambs, is coming out in April, and the entire rest of the series is coming out this spring, with the exception of maybe a couple of bonus novellas. So we've got everything coming out this spring. We're going to meet the characters today. So you guys have heard the blurb, you know a little bit about what's going on inside of my Steampunk Aladdin retelling. And today we are going to meet all of the characters. I'm so incredibly excited because we are going to be hanging out and getting to know just a little bit about some of these twisted characters. So we're going to jump in. And the thing you need to know with the Stealing Steam series is that I have pulled a lot from the original Aladdin, which, surprise, actually is Chinese. It's really very interesting. If you guys take a step back and you look at the original Aladdin tale, you're going to see some very big differences between the original story from China and the original story back in Arabian Nights and the Disney version that we all know and love. So I pulled a lot of the original things going on in this series. And as you get to know these characters, you're going to see what I've been pulling. But you are also going to see maybe a couple of nods to some things in Disney. Very, very big nods because copyright, but we might have hinted to some of those things as well. So I'm really excited. We are going to introduce my characters, and I'm actually going to pull it up so that you can see my entire cast. Let me take that down so you guys can get a good look. And if you're here joining me live, I would love to hear from you. Let me know why you're super excited for Steampunk Aladdin. All right, so let's take a look. We are going to be doing this a little bit out of order today based on how this is set up, but I did kind of organize my characters into which side they fall on. So let's take a look at our guy right in the middle here. I don't know if you can see. Nope, you can't see my arrow. That's okay. No worries. No worries. We will just talk about it. So Aladdin, let me actually see if I can do, let me see what I can do here. There we go. Now you can see me a little bit. So let's talk a little bit about Aladdin. He is right in the middle. He's got kind of like a tan jacket on, dark hair. He's right in between the girl and the guy with the top hat. So Aladdin, of course, is my Aladdin. He is the one who gets sent into the collection cave to actually retrieve what he doesn't know is a magic lamp. In fact, he thinks it's kind of like an oil can that he is going to get for a reason that he doesn't really understand. He's part of a competition, which we're going to talk about in just a few minutes. And within this competition, the object is to steal a steamship. So this is an airship that they are going to be stealing, the Store Bridge. Last year was the very first year for this contest, and someone won the Empress. This year, the Store Bridge is so much bigger, so much better, and whoever wins it, and wins it by stealing, is actually going to be pretty much like the richest person in Horallen, where they live. And so Aladdin lives with his mother. His father was murdered last year, which is why he didn't know about the competition last year. He's just finding out now about this competition, and he wants nothing to do with it. He has every intention of earning enough money to get his mother out of Horallen because things are not so great. His father was murdered. His uncle is kind of being problematic, and we're actually going to meet his uncle in just a minute. But we've got a lot of interesting things going on here, and his uncle is the one that tricks him into doing this competition on his behalf, and he acts as his benefactor, and he sponsors Aladdin in this and promises, if you win this airship for me, I will give you your old home back because that was taken away from you when your father was murdered, and I will give you enough money to take care of you and your mother and any family you might have down the road for generations. And so Aladdin is kind of forced into this, and along the way, he meets some interesting people. Now, if you look to his left, you actually, and at the left side of the screen, you actually get to meet Cyra. Cyra is my princess, but she's not a typical princess. So Cyra's rather interesting because she was an orphan. She lived out on the streets after her parents were murdered, and she was taken in by the governor who was standing next to her. We're going to meet him in a minute. And he was looking for someone to train to steal this airship. So he knew about this contest way in advance. Most people did not have advanced knowledge of this, but he did. And he went and he handpicked a girl off the streets to bring into his home and to train to steal an airship. And last year, Cyra stole the Empress. She won it for the governor. He was her sponsor. And now he is the richest person in Horallen. She lives in a floating mansion. No lie, guys. And she is not really allowed to participate this year in the competition because you can't have the same benefactor year after year after year. It has to be someone new. And you can't really betray the guy who took you in and go work for somebody else. So she doesn't have a leg in the game. It's a little bit of a problem for her. However, Cyra's one of those girls who kind of sneaks out when people aren't watching, and she goes back to the streets, and she's taking care of the homeless kids there, and she's giving them money, she's bringing them food, and she gets this wild idea that maybe I can make a deal with the governor, and I can freelance. I can go out, and I can steal the store bridge by myself, for myself, and then trade him. I'll take the Empress. He can have the more important, higher end, the richer airship from this year. I'll take the backup now. And I will create a place for these orphans to live and work so that they can get themselves off of the streets. Only he says no. Now, what you gotta know is that she, unfortunately, has been training her replacement. And we're going to meet Levi in just a few minutes. But I do want to jump over to our genie. Who's excited? Let me know. Give me a hands up down in those comments below. Who is a fan of the genie? Now, here's the deal. With the genie, there's something interesting from the original versions of Aladdin, not the Disney version, but from the original versions that I really put in here. And you're going to find some surprises along the way as we are talking about Yavid. And he is right next to Aladdin. So right smack in the middle of my screen is the guy with the top hat. He's very, very tall. He's got the gold all over his gorgeous steampunk outfit there. I absolutely love Yavid's outfit. He's got the big beard there. And he is our genie. He has been trapped inside of this lamp for years and years and years. And you're going to find things out along the way as we go. But the cool thing is that he has some connections to some people. And the genies, you're going to learn, weren't always genies. I can't tell you anything about it because spoilers. They were not always genies, and we're going to learn his backstory in this and why he is in the position that he's in, how many genies there are in Horallen, why the people have been telling them that they were banned a century ago. So the government, the officials have been telling Horallen that the genies were banned a century ago. Clearly, this is not the case because we do find Yavid inside of the collection cave when Aladdin is sent on this deadly mission. Now, here's the deal. With this collection cave race, with the race to win the store bridge or steal the store bridge, the person in charge that we're going to meet in just a minute has actually sent the men and women of Horallen who want to participate on this insane race. They have to pay a ton of money to get in, and then they're quite possibly going to die along the way. People are vicious. They will kill each other to win this airship when people aren't looking. It's against the rules, of course, but, you know, you can't enforce everything. And they're sent into this collection cave, which is kind of like a dump site for Horallen. They take all of their scrap metal, all of their junk that's like not garbage, not trash, but like matte metal type stuff, and they just pile it inside of these caves, inside of the tunnels, inside of all of these different things inside of this giant collection cave. It's so dangerous. The workers are highly compensated because it's really dangerous in there. And the guy in charge is sending them in there saying, I have hid things inside of the collection cave. All you got to do is go find one of these things. I've given you some signs, and you're going to need this to steal the store bridge. Now, you could potentially steal the store bridge without these things. However, it's going to be a lot easier. And if someone who has been inside of the cave shows up while you are still there trying to steal the airship, too bad for you. So if you go and you find the store bridge before anybody else, but you have not been in the cave, you are forced to wait for an entire hour. And if anybody shows up, you've lost. You've lost it. And so it's really worth your time to go to the collection cave, but also you very well might die or lose a hand, lose a finger. You might get some horrible things from getting cut on the metal. Like, it's really a big deal. And Yavid is inside of this collection cave, and obviously at some point Aladdin has to get his hands on this lamp, but that's all I'm going to tell you. So let's bounce over. Let's talk about some people connected to Aladdin now. Kacper is actually right next to Yavid on the right side. So he's the one with the hat on there, and he's got his jacket hanging off of his shoulders. He's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the 8th one over, or the 3rd one from the right. And he is Aladdin's uncle. So he's Aladdin's father's brother. And he never really liked Aladdin that much, but he did love his brother. And so he kind of has been taking care of his brother's family after Aladdin's father was murdered. But he does not like Aladdin. And he might really like Aladdin's mom. So we've got some issues going on here. And Uncle Kacper is an official. He works for the government, so he has a lot of power and a lot of control. And unfortunately, he's going to wield this against Aladdin. And so Kacper likes to position Aladdin against his mother, and he will drag him through the streets of Horallen whenever he can find even the slightest infraction, throw him in front of his mother and say, "Look what your son did. He is such a disgrace to your family name." And he's trying to drive this wedge in between Aladdin and his mother, and it may or may not be working. And unfortunately, Kacper is going to get in the way quite a bit during the story. And like I said, he does send Aladdin on this wild goose chase to steal the store bridge. Now, right next to him on the right is Byron. Byron, he might be more machine than man. We're not exactly sure yet. But Byron is Kacper's right-hand man. He's very quiet. He doesn't talk a lot. He never had a lot of conversations with Aladdin, but he's kind of Kacper's muscle. And so he does the dirty work. He's the one that drags Aladdin around, or he finds him in the streets and pulls him out of trouble. And he's just this very big, strong, intimidating, scary man who's going to cause a lot of problems, and he does whatever Kacper tells him to do. So obviously we've got some things going on here. And we are going to learn a little bit more about Byron as we go, but I'm just going to zip it there because secrets, fun secrets. So Byron, oops, I didn't change his name. There we go. So Byron is rather interesting. He's got a little man bun going on back here, his hair back in a ponytail. And again, he's almost more machine than man. I think we described him in the book as pretty much like chest up is human, kind of partly. Like legs, maybe not so much. Arm, maybe not so much. Got a lot of things going on here. And Aladdin really, honestly, truly, not 100% positive he's human. We don't know, because there are robots made out of all sorts of fun cogs and things going on here. So let's bounce over to a little bit more about this contest, and let's meet Isaac. Now, Isaac is all the way on the left-hand side, second one in. He's really tall, and I'm actually going to take that off for a second so you can get a good look at his feet there. Isaac is the proprietor of the game. So Isaac is the man who built the airships. Isaac was the one who built the Empress last year and sold it to the officials to turn it into this game for kind of a morale booster, entertainment. This year, however, Isaac has taken the game out of the hands of the officials. He has built a brand new steam engine airship, and this one is bigger, this one's better, and this time the officials aren't in control. Isaac is in control. He makes the rules, he can change the rules, and he can manipulate anyone. Now, Isaac has quite the past. You're going to find out as we read it. I'm not going to ruin anything for you, but it's huge. And Isaac is actually pretty interesting. So when we meet him, and throughout the course of the story, you're going to find that he is on stilts or leg extensions. Read into that what you will for a man wanting to be taller and more powerful, and read into what you will for him being a man on springs. The title is Lions and Lamps, so maybe it has something to do with that. But he does like to be able to walk on those stilts, and he likes to be able to kind of move faster, spring higher, jump higher, do all of these things, and kind of tower over people. So Isaac has a very interesting past, and there's a reason he is sending people on these little missions. There's a reason that he's sending them to the collection cave, and there's a reason that he's got people running all around Horallen, but we're not going to tell you what that is. Now, Isaac is friends with the governor, who is the man who took Cyra in. We're actually going to get to him right now. So if you count 2 over from Isaac, the man with the white hair and the black jacket with the shiny buttons, this is the governor, and he is really interesting because right now he's the richest and most powerful man in Horallen, I mean, aside from like the officials or obviously Isaac, but he's pretty much like, this is it. This is it. This is the governor. And so the governor had advanced knowledge because he is friends or was friends with Isaac. And they're not really so much friends anymore. They kind of lost touch. They kind of went their own ways. But should something come up, it would be comfortable enough for the governor to go have a conversation with Isaac. That's kind of where we're at with them. And years and years and years ago, Isaac actually told him about this upcoming competition. And so the governor jumped on this one. He knew what he was doing. He went out into the streets and he looked for somebody he thought he could train to win the Empress last year. He found Cyra, who is my princess, and he trained her so dang well that she actually won. She survived the competition. She stole the Empress, and she is it. Girl has all the power aside from, you know, having to listen to the governor. And so the governor is kind of this older gentleman. He's too old to be her father, not quite old enough to be her grandfather if we're looking at age range. And so he's kind of taken her in, and he's treating her now like an adopted daughter. He loves her very, very much. And when she suggests that she freelance in this competition that's going to be so much more deadly than the last year's, he says no. He does not want her to be hurt. Train your replacement, and you're staying here. We can figure out another way to help the orphans. Obviously, she's not going to listen too well to this. She's not going to receive this super well. But he is well-meaning. He does have a short temper. And he is looking for his next win, which is the store bridge, which actually brings us to Cyra's replacement. So right in between Isaac and the governor, third one from the right, we are looking at Levi. Levi is rather interesting because the governor has picked him out and Cyra has picked him out to become her replacement. This year, his job is to go into this competition quietly and steal the store bridge. So Cyra's teaching him everything that he needs to know, but he is cocky and arrogant and a jerk, and he likes to mess with her, and, you know, this is a problem. This is a problem. And so they kind of almost have this flirty relationship. They kind of almost have this sibling relationship, like, sometimes I'm going to be a total jerk to you, but when it really comes down to it, oh, maybe I care just a little bit that you don't die, kind of a thing. And so Levi is very interesting, and he is sent out into this competition. And that's the last we see of him for a little while, you know, until he shows back up. So Levi is very interesting. I really do kind of like where Levi's character went. And then we've got two more that I want you to meet today. So all the way on the left-hand side, you're going to see a man right there with a longer coat on. He's got a top hat. He's got glasses over his eyes, those goggles. This is Simon. You guys are going to like Simon. Simon is super fun. I may or may not have written him specifically once I met him, once I started writing his story. I knew specifically a couple of my author friends would be like, no, this is our guy. And I was right. Simon's very interesting. Simon is actually Cyra's friend. And Simon helped Cyra win the Empress last year. Now, Simon isn't one of those, like, be nice just to be nice kind of people. He's one of those, oh, if you want to pay me, I'll go do illegal things for you. Sure, no problem. And he actually hasn't seen Cyra since the competition last year. And so when Cyra shows up and asks for his help, things get interesting. He's very quirky. He's got very interesting style. He likes to throw his voice up a little bit higher and do one of those giggly things. If you've ever seen ABC's Once Upon a Time, that TV show, he almost kind of has the Rumple when he gets all giggly and evil, but not evil. That's kind of what he does with his voice. He kind of likes to sing song things, and he likes to tease people, and he likes to be the one in the know. But he's not necessarily a bad guy. He's just a little bit more on the mercenary side than a friend. So he's there for her. He's going to support her. But also he's looking for a payday. And so Simon is really very interesting. And I do love where Simon went. He wasn't someone I was expecting to write. And he kind of showed up in my manuscript. And then he became a very important part. So I really do like Simon. I think you guys are going to like him. And he is kind of like he is a friend to Cyra. It's kind of, well, it's interesting. You'll see the dynamic. So then the very last one I want to show you is Lady de Ghent, and I'm going to actually move this so you can see her a little bit better. There we go. Lady de Ghent, all the way on the right-hand side. Lady de Ghent, again, this is another one that I did not see coming. And so Lady de Ghent is actually a character that we meet partway into this competition. The story goes through this competition to steal the Stourbridge airship and win the competition. And Aladdin finds himself in a not-so-awesome position at one point, and he runs into this old lady who catches him doing something he shouldn't be doing. Oops. And she seems like this sweet old lady, except the first thing he notices is that the cane she's got is a sword in disguise. And so it's very interesting. This woman seems frail and old and lovely and fragile. She's not. She can take care of herself. She was married to an official who has since passed away. So she knows everyone in the official world. She knows all of the people in the hall, which is where all of the officials work. She knows people. She's got great connections. She can call people by name, and she knows what's going on. And so when she runs into Aladdin, she actually recognizes him. In fact, she was at his father's funeral a year ago, but he didn't see her. And so she has some connections to his family that he doesn't really know about. And she comes sweeping into this story. She's very, very interesting. I'm going to give you guys just a little bit of a tease. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, but Lady de Ghent actually has a clock in the back of her skull. I'm not going to tell you why. I'm not going to tell you what it's for, but as you're reading, you're going to find out that this very fashionable, lovely, charming, deadly older lady has a clock in the back of her, like the neck and skull area. And you're going to find out what it's for. I'm really excited about this. I really like how that particular part turned out. And she is a rather interesting part of this story. So these are kind of the main overarching characters inside of Lions and Lamps, which is my Aladdin steampunk retelling. And if you've got questions, if you've got comments, I would love to hear from you guys. Freedom is in the comments saying she loves my genie. Yavid is really interesting, isn't he? That boy, he's got stories, he's got secrets, and he shows up when you kind of least expect him. And Freedom also says this all sounds just wonderful. I'm so excited for this. I am so incredibly excited for the Lions and Lamps release in April. And you're going to be meeting some really interesting characters. These obviously are just like very simple character images. I can't wait to get the real artwork for this one. But oh, so good, so good. And it's all very steampunk based. And the cool thing about this is that it actually has a lot of history in it, like United States history. My hometown is actually the site of the first steam locomotive in the United States. So I have stories, and I've got history, and I've got all sorts of fun references. So fun fact, I've been telling you guys about how Aladdin and Cyra and Levi and some other people are trying to steal the Stourbridge, which is that airship. Well, the name of the very first steam locomotive in the United States was the Stourbridge. In fact, it was the Stourbridge Lion. It was named after the Stourbridge, obviously over in Europe, and it was brought over here, and it was just this really cool thing to have the very first steam locomotive here in this hometown of mine. And so I pulled the history from the Stourbridge Lion and I put it into Lions and Lamps. So we've got the Lion references, we've got the Stourbridge references, we've got references to the guy who drove it. There's all sorts of really cool references inside of this series, and I really love that we get to do a little bit of hometown repping in here. Now, Lions and Lamps does come out April 9th. You can get your hands on a copy of that by going to lionsandlampsinfo.k.m.robinsonbooks.com to pre-order the ebook. The paperback and the hardcover are still at the printers being approved. So as soon as that is ready to go, those will be available for pre-order as well. But you can get your hands on a copy of this right now in ebook form. You can pre-order it. It comes out April 9th, and the entire series releases this spring. So you don't even have to wait to find out what happens. There's going to be genies. There's going to be betrayal. There's going to be secrets. And there's going to be some seriously swoony scenes. I'm just saying. Wait until you meet Cyra and Aladdin. All I'm saying, friends. I'm super excited for this. And I'm going to be doing more along the lines of this over the next couple of days and weeks. You guys know I'm doing Mermagicon 1 week from today, so I will be doing just a little bit of work for my mermaids over the next couple of weeks, and then after that, it's going to be all Aladdin until April. I'm so excited. There's going to be some really cool stuff. We're going to talk about top hats. We're going to talk about steampunk apparel. We're going to show off our jewelry. We're going to do our really cool goggles, which I can't find my good pair. This is a pair I got at one of the Halloween shops in October. And guys, whoa, it is not the best. Not the best. So I got to find my good ones. They'll stay on my head. But we're going to do all sorts of fun, fabulous things. We're going to learn more about Lions and Lamps. I'm going to give you more teasers. And if you ask really nice, I might consider releasing the first 2-4 chapters. We don't know. Let me know what you want to see. And we will see if we can maybe get you some early access to Lions and Lamps. By the way, we do have some big things coming. I am going to be... Ooh, I didn't cooperate. There we go. I am going to be designing a brand new interactive choose-your-own-adventure game for Lions and Lamps to see if you can survive the collection cave. Because like I said, this is a very dangerous location, and if you make the wrong decision, you're probably going to die. So we're going to see if you can we're going to see if you can not only survive, that's where I was going. We're going to see if you can not only survive the collection cave, but come out with something that's going to help you steal the store bridge. There are things hidden in there. People have been planting things, Isaac has been planting things all along the way, and you may survive. And you may survive and be able to steal the store bridge. We'll see. Game is coming soon. I do have to build that, but it will be out in time for the book to come out. I'm actually thinking probably next month. It's going to come out in the next couple of weeks. I got to get through Mermagicon first, but it's going to be so much fun. We're going to have a great time, and I cannot wait to chat more about Lions and Lamps. If you got questions on any of my characters, or if you want to learn just a little bit more about the Lions and Lamps, Pistons and Prisoners, Rail Cars and Rulers, Stealing Steam series, let me know down below. I would happily get those answered for you guys. I'm so incredibly excited to be hanging out, chatting about the Stealing Steam series. But until next time, I hope you guys have a great idea. Send in your questions about this series or about these characters, because I am going to be getting your questions answered in video and in live video. So I would love to hear from you guys. Let me know why you're super excited to read Steampunk Aladdin. I've been sitting on this one for a long time, guys, and I'm so thrilled that we now get to make it public for you. As always, you can come hang out at k.m.robinsonbooks.com and at k.m.robinsonbooks on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, IGTV, and YouTube for more fabulousness. And stay tuned, because Mermagicon is coming. I am dropping all sorts of magical mermaid things this week, and I'm going to be doing live broadcasts from Mermagicon. This time next week, 1 week from right now, I will be live broadcasting from Mermagicon. I'm hanging out with professional mermaids. I am hanging out with the guy who created The Little Mermaid, Disney's Little Mermaid. Not even joking. So excited about that. And I will be hanging out with some incredible people at this convention, some really famous, fabulous, wonderful people. And I'm bringing it all to you live here on Facebook and on Instagram Live. And, of course, fun things from Stealing Steam. So I will see you guys next time. Until then, have a great day and stay inspired. Bye-bye.